The cat's out of the bag. The price of Magic the Gathering has been a hot button conversation for quite some time now. But never more so than recently has it been truly apparent that it is an issue for fans like you and I. Today, I want to go on a bit of a rant about the problems I see with Magic the Gathering's price, why those problems are specific to Magic the Gathering itself, and why it's different than something like the Pokemon trading card game. All of this in today's video. If you like conversations like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and like the video, because for a small channel like mine, it helps more than you can possibly imagine. All right, I'm going to rant a little bit, and this one's going to be fun. Let's go. Now, as someone who's been around Magic the Gathering for the better part of 2 decades, I can tell you that prices have always swung. They've gone up, down, and all around based on our interest in the card game, and this is very much how the trading card game space has always worked. A good set with powerful cards that's popular amongst fans like us has always been a bit more expensive, but never more so than right now. And the release of Final Fantasy only shed a ton of light on Magic the Gathering specific issues. And today, we're not going to talk about crazy chase products or collector booster boxes. No, I want to talk about the product which facilitates Magic the Gathering's greatest strength: the Play Booster Box and the Commander decks. That is right, as Magic the Gathering is a collectible. It is something that people collect. They show off blingy cards, they grade, and they put in binders. It is also, and probably more, the world's most played trading card game. That's right, Magic the Gathering really shines when people sit down with their friends and slam cardboard down on the table. And this is where the price increases, the changes, and the hype is going to hurt Magic more so than any other game. The Play Booster Box right now is the topic of conversation, and looking at something like Final Fantasy, we see Play Booster Boxes, yes, normal Play Booster Boxes, costing more than $200. And while this is not a dunk on Final Fantasy video, as that set was wildly successful, tons of fun, playable cards, and fans seem to enjoy it, it is worth noting that a Play Booster Box of Final Fantasy is roughly $100 more. Yes, $100 more for a standard Magic the Gathering set than other releases have been. And this is going to, in my opinion, create an issue. Now, we touched briefly on collector booster boxes and collector commander decks, whatever have you, and I'm actually okay with those being prohibitively expensive. I like collectibles that are rare. Now, don't just click off the video and run away. Rare collectibles can be okay. If they're done the right way, they can be just fine. And in fact, I like the fact that most of what you can pull in these collector booster boxes as of recent is available in the Play Booster Boxes. Now, not everything. There are Collector Booster Box exclusives, but the Collector Booster Box represents a lot of the cards that you can get out of the Play Booster Box. But if that's the case, why is it a problem that one is expensive and the other isn't? Well, as we always say, Magic being the most played TCG in the known universe is important. It's what it does better than everybody else. And increasing the price on materials used to play Magic the Gathering could be extremely detrimental. Heck, we have seen this in the past when booster boxes have released, become prohibitively expensive, especially when we weren't in an era with tons of booster box variants and there was a chase or investable card or box out there and there was nowhere else to turn. We've seen prices climb to the ceiling. If this happens with Magic the Gathering sets on a, well, let's call it a 50% of the set basis, where all Universes Beyond sets are prohibitively expensive, Magic and playing Magic becomes more and more expensive. The barrier for entry only goes up, up, and up, and if you only collect Magic the Gathering, if you don't engage in play with some commander, have some sealed fun, you eventually will fall out of the hobby. It is my opinion that it is much harder to stick a collector than it is to stick someone who collects and plays. And this is a good point to note. Most of the people who play Magic the Gathering that say that they don't collect are also kind of collectors. Spoiler alert, if you're buying blingy variants, if you're chasing things down, foils for your commander deck, you are, at some level, a collector. But you're a player first, and these expensive Play Booster Boxes could hurt that. I want us to close our eyes and imagine a world where these universes beyond collector products, the chase products, continue to go up, but the Play Booster Box, well, yes, there will probably be an IP tax on the product, remained at a more reasonable mark. If regular Play Booster Boxes are around $100 to $115 on the secondary market, $125 for our very successful sets like Bloomburrow and Duskmorn, I would like to see these Play Booster Boxes for Universes Beyond sets hover closer to that top end of that area of that price range. Now, I'm not an economist. I don't have the Wizards of the Coast and their various IP contracts in front of me, so I don't know how much more that has to be, but I find it hard to believe that it must be $100 per box. In fact, I don't think that's the case. And we also run into another issue where people will just say, reprint the Play Booster forever, do a Foundations, print it for the next 5 years. And yes, I agree with that. I think that's a wonderful thing to do with the Play Booster Box. However, the Play Booster Box runs into a couple problems in that light. First and foremost, we're talking about us, but the game stores can and will get left holding the bag at some point. If these products are printed indefinitely in perpetuity, as Magic fans, we have been trained to go from set to set to set to major release and next thing and the next thing, and you get my drift. We are in a rapid release cycle where we are incentivized to focus on what is in the future, and because of that, we don't have the attachment, we don't have the love, we don't have the pull to some of these sets that came out more recently. Because of this, there will be a point, if we were to infinitely print the Play Booster Box, that someone would be left holding the bag. And as fans, we don't like to think about it, but this is a business. This is an industry. There are jobs at stake here, and because of that, distro can't overorder, game stores can't overhold, and we, the consumers, are only willing to buy so much until the next thing comes out. So reprinting the box in perpetuity forever and ever doesn't really seem to solve the problem without creating another one. The other way that we could go about maybe solving this problem is a bigger print run to begin with, but we do run some risks there. Looking not too far into Magic's past, we have something like Commander Masters, where Wizards of the Coast thought they could charge whatever they wanted for the products and we would buy it anyway, and they printed a ton, and well, guess what? We, the community, decided that those products at that price were not something we were interested in. All of this culminates in a situation where playing Magic the Gathering in its based form becomes more and more expensive. The cards for your commander deck, this box opening experience, and yes, I know that everyone on the internet only buys singles. I'm aware that that is a thing. But on this channel, we also respect the fact that some people like to just crack sealed boxes. They like to open cards with their friends. They like to play limited, play draft, whatever it might be. Or, sorry, limited is draft and sealed in the limited fashion. And because of this, the price of the Play Booster Box matters. Also, at a large, overarching scale, the price of the Play Booster Box will, in some part, drive the price of singles combined with their popularity and playability. All of this creates this weird concoction where Magic the Gathering is almost inching itself more towards the Pokemon trading card game. And while I do believe, and I believe this, and I will say this until I'm blue on the face on this channel, that Magic the Gathering must have a collectible element. It is a trading card game. We must have assign value to the things we like. Better cards are going to be more expensive. We got to trade with our friends. We got to have some excitement for a reason when we open that pack. All of this might be true, but we can't shed too far in that direction. Playing Magic, sitting down with your friends, Standard, Modern, Pioneer, Commander, Rush, whatever it might be, any limited format that I fumbled on earlier, whatever it might be, will need to be accessible. In fact, that's the beauty of Magic the Gathering. Let's take Standard, for example. For the longest time, people said Standard and its rotation and its prohibitively expensive decks were a reason not to get involved. You take that with the lack of community involvement, and it felt bad to buy a $700 deck to use for 6 months and then kind of have to tear completely apart, not really have anything to do with at least 3 of the copies of the 4-0s in your deck, etc. Well, Standard recently, with the release of Foundations and the extended life cycle, while it did some things to the format that I don't agree with, it did make decks cheaper. It made them more affordable, and also made the justification to buy them a little bit stronger. Now, with the prohibitively expensive Play Booster Boxes coming out 3 times a year, that price is going to be offset at least a little bit. We must remember that all of these price changes, these price increases, these price hikes, and with nothing else to call them, they do cascade down onto anyone who just buys a base version. They just buy the single, and while popular sets require more openings, well, they don't require, but they have more openings inherently, and more singles are on the market, well, they're also more popular, so more people are buying those singles. It's a supply-demand value proposition that the whole community decides at once that I don't think we could sit in a chair and resolve in the next, 3 minutes. All of that, I say all of that to say this: Magic must remain accessible. There must remain an accessible product for every release. If we go full on Pokemon, where we have expensive products and really nowhere to play them, and only people collecting them, and only people putting them on their shelf sealed, and only people grading them, then we have lost the magic that is Magic. And frankly, that's not something I am interested in. Now, the Commander decks are actually a bright light, a little shining spot in this otherwise tumultuous ecosystem. The Commander decks of almost every single set have come down after a while to a very normalized price. I think the Commander decks of a Magic the Gathering release are wonderful products. They're an ability to sit down and experience a set release with your friend in the most social and fun way to play Magic the Gathering for the overwhelming majority of the community. And for this reason, these products coming down in price and being accessible have caused them to be one of the best-selling products with every single release. Heck, we've referenced Final Fantasy a couple times, and the Final Fantasy Commander decks have come down under the $300 mark for the first time in, well, probably since their release. All of this is just a concern. I do believe Wizards of the Coast will fix this. However, I think they're going to do it in an interesting way. You could tell me a world where they're selling more booster boxes directly to us. The Amazon dumps being one of my favorite, and a good theory of a buddy of mine, Louie, over at Kitchen Table TCG. If you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, make sure you do that. He proposes that Wizards of the Coast will start releasing these boxes, full sets, just a booster box in a secret layer, and there will be lines and wait queues, and because of this, the box will be, well, hopefully less expensive, because we will not have to go through distro, through the game store. But that creates its own problem. Cutting out this ecosystem, savaging the pipeline that we've built for the better part of 30 years now, is dangerous to the way we enjoy our hobby, and I would much rather see Wizards of the Coast find an answer to these prohibitively expensive Universes Beyond sets being half of our sets every single year. Now, all of that is to say, I don't think Magic is dying or crashing or anything like that. I think Magic is actually far more popular than it's been since I have been making content on this channel. And if you like content like this, discussions and videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you want to go a step further than that, click the channel membership button to support what we do here for $5 a month. It helps pay all the bills around here, keep the lights on, and I really appreciate all of the existing channel members. You guys know who you are, and you rock. I'll put a link to the Discord down below. Thank you so much for hanging out and having this conversation with me today. Until next time, you guys know me. My name is Josh. I'll link a video that I think you'll like based on this topic over here, and we will see you around. All right, everyone. Bye.